Hi guys, Justin Lake here, presenting my Module 5, Understanding My Community assignment. I'm going to do it over the school district I just taught at for the last 7 years, which is Turner USD 202. It's located in Wyandotte County in Kansas City, Kansas. I just got a new job this summer in Missouri, and since I haven't worked there yet, I don't really feel too comfortable talking on the community since I don't know anything about it yet personally. Some of the customs and traditions that we have in Turner. There's a Turner Days festival. It's kind of like a big fair. There's like mud volleyball and stuff, tournaments, and you can buy stuff from different little stands. There's live music. It goes on for an entire weekend. I believe there's a car show there. There's a parade. All the schools in the district compete on who can build the coolest float for the parade. And a lot of the sports teams will go down for the parade, and also the band. Each elementary school does field day every year. That's a pretty typical tradition. Our third graders every single year, the first Friday in May, participate in Kansas Kids Fitness Day. It's kind of like a big combined field day for all the third graders in the entire district, because we have 4 different elementary schools, so we get them all together. Our high school has the school dances, obviously. Our high school auto tech class also has a pretty awesome auto show that they put on that is separate from the one from Turner Days. And then this picture right here, you see my favorite pork tenderloin in the whole world. It's from a place called Christie's Tasty Queen. It's been featured on diners, drive-ins, and dives or whatever, and it's a staple of the Turner community. It's a pretty blue-collar population. 23% of the population is between the ages of 5 to 18, so that's quite a few that are in our schools. We're pretty much even on the male and female split. You can see with the percentages I gave you there, we've got, it's very diverse. 46% white, 37% Hispanic, 11% black, and I want to say the rest, it was Asian. I think I wanted to say it was like 3%, something like that. We are, however, we are a very low-income school district. Our families, they work real hard to take care of their families, but unfortunately they don't make a whole lot of money. The communication channels for the Turner School District. More recently, in the last few years, we got a new superintendent. We've really focused more on using social media. It's such a great way to connect with people immediately. And so I know we've got our Twitter handle for Turner. We've got a Facebook page for Turner. And it's really great. It's a lot better than the outdated, newsletter model where, if we go and we have a football game, one of the administrators at the game can instantly tweet out or put on Facebook the score at the end of the first quarter, what it is at halftime, end of the third quarter. He can give stats, what our quarterback's been doing, how many tackles our best linebacker has, stuff like that. It's really cool to keep the community together and in touch with what's going on, even if they can't be somewhere. Obviously, we use email and phones, and we still do newsletters. Also, our district recently has done a really good job of reaching out to our local news stations, Fox 4, KCTV 5, and all the other ones, when something cool is going on at our school that we feel like needs to be recognized so the rest of Kansas City can see it. A lot of teachers use Class Dojo. That's a way for parents to see when their kids either get rewarded points or have points taken away during their time in the classroom. They can look up their students' grades on Infinite Campus. And the other thing I showed you earlier is that we have a large Hispanic community. We provide interpreters for conferences, and that helps with communication there. And we also, when there's important letters sent home, we also try to have those typed up in Spanish, so that part of our population isn't left out of the loop. Our community groups. We have the TRC, which is the Turner Recreation Commission. That's where a lot of our youth sports go through. They also provide the after-school care. They do some great stuff for our community. They do youth sports with football, basketball, soccer, baseball, all that type of stuff. And they're really great for the community. Another thing in Turner that's pretty unique is the Golden Gloves, the Kansas City Golden Gloves. And it's a big boxing club, a big gym that is in the Turner School District. And they actually have produced some fantastic boxers. And the picture that's on this slide is Cam F. Awesome. And he is a 4-time U.S. Amateur champion and just missed out on the Rio Games last year. He didn't quite make it out of qualifying. But he's probably the most famous guy that's come out of the Golden Gloves thing. We obviously have Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts like most other communities. And our high school and middle school offers sports, the opportunity to be in choirs and bands, and theater on the high school level. And our elementaries do a really good job. Up until this year, this school year that's about to start, we haven't had art the entire time that I've worked in Turner. So like the school I was at, Junction Elementary, we had an art club, we had a science club, and some other clubs like that. So there's different groups for kids to be involved in all ages. Know the leadership. Our superintendent, we just got a few years ago, he actually got promoted from one of the other district administrator positions. He's a great guy, and our school board is mostly made up of people. There's a few that are parents, I believe. Others were former teachers in the district, and others are just community members who live in Turner. After them, it would go to our district administrators, the ones that work at the board office directly under the superintendent. And then it would go down to our principals, our teachers, our PTAs, and then our support staff. Our community leaders' characteristics, I would say that they're very dedicated. Our community, it's very unique. It's kind of stuck. There's no room for us to grow. We're around in the middle of a bunch of other communities. But it's tight-knit, and there's good ownership and pride within all the people, and we all want what's best for all the kids of Turner. So everybody's dedicated to work together. We all take ownership top to bottom. People are open to new ideas. We support each other, but most importantly, I think people that are in charge of the community in Turner, they're excited about making improvements. Our economic conditions, like I said before, we got 73% low-income families. The average household income in Turner is $49,000. A stat that I didn't put on here, I think it's 2.7 people per house. So $49,000 for 2.7 people to live off for an entire year that's not a whole lot of money. We're in Wyandotte County, and 21% of Wyandotte was in poverty in 2005. Now that's not completely an accurate portrayal of Turner, because there's a whole slew of other schools in Wyandotte County, but that's just to give you an idea of where we're at as far as the poverty line. Houses are affordable in Turner. They are partially affordable because, unfortunately, there's a lot of people who rent now and don't own houses there. So it makes the houses that are actually for sale cheaper to buy. And then it shows that we spend less money than the national average. So that might be something that has to go back to an average household of only having $49,000. There's just not money to spend. Our political structure, we're a Title I school. When there's budget cuts to the state of Kansas, I know it hurts every school district in Kansas, but it really hurts the title districts. We rely on help from Topeka for everything, for school improvements, for budgets to help pay teachers. And so it's important for us to have a good relationship with Topeka, and hope that we can continue our partnership, because we're going to continue to need them down the road. Social tensions. We are a very diverse community. We are in Kansas City, Kansas, so there are some issues with gangs. I've had former players of mine that I'm 100% positive I know are in gangs. They talk about it. There are also, we are higher than the national average on crime. So that's not good, and it's everything across the board. I would say that in elementary school we're not very cliquey, but I would say once middle school starts, the school district does get very cliquey. And it's not always with the same races, but it definitely does become cliquey, and I'm not sure it's any different than any other school district would be. Discrimination, I don't think there's any discrimination. I think Turner has really done a good job over the years of welcoming its diversity and understanding that there are a whole bunch of different types of people that live in the community now. And for the most part, I think the students are pretty accepting of each other and everybody else's different customs and cultures. But the tensions, like it says, misunderstanding, economic rivalry, cultural differences, social class competition, racial discrimination, religious differences. I would say that our tensions in our district either come from the older people who have lived there forever and watched it become more diverse, who are kind of closed-minded, or from, like I stated earlier, the gangs. I got a lot of my information from the U.S. Census Bureau, greatschools.org, point2homes.com, and just some of my personal experience and knowledge of the community. Our power structures, the school board and district administrators, they work together. I know that we've had occasional snags as far as contract negotiations go. Sometimes they've gone into the school year, which can be frustrating, but as a teacher, it can be really frustrating, but I understand that the administrators have a job to do too, and we've got to find a way to meet in the middle. When it's all over and said and done, we're on the same team. And like I said before, that's what I love about Turner. It's a proud community, and everybody in the end works together to make it better. Some of the multicultural issues, as I stated before, we've got almost 40% of the Turner School District is Hispanic. So obviously we've got plenty of ESL learners in our school district. Not all of our Hispanic families, not their parents can't all speak English fluently. I've had plenty of students who they can speak English, but their parents can't speak it at all. So we have to have interpreters at conferences, which I think is a great thing, so their parents can actually understand what's being said to them and not just rely on what their kid tells them that we said. The Hispanic culture is a huge part of Turner, and one example of how it's affected me, I coach football, I coach track. I used to get really frustrated my first couple years when kids would tell me they had to leave practice or not come to practice because they have a quinceañera to practice for or to go to. I didn't understand it. I didn't know what it was. But it's a huge part of the Hispanic culture, and now, I understand that and I appreciate it. And those are just some examples of what it's like living in a diverse community. The power structure, kind of already talked about it earlier, superintendent, school board, principals, then teachers. A little bit in our school that I worked at, Junction Elementary, as far as the power goes, we had a pretty good plan set out. I had a great principal the past couple years, and if you're doing something great, you're going to get rewarded with what we called a Cardinal card, which is essentially like money that they could use at the school store. And if you were maybe modeling some not so great behavior, we used BIST, that behavior model, to try to help get over that issue. In closing, I think the public opinion of Turner has gotten increasingly better since I worked there. When I first started, I'm not sure it wasn't that the public didn't trust us. I don't think Turner did a good enough job of getting information out to the public and communicating with them and also listening to the public's opinion. But the administration that we've had the last few years, like I said, we've really started using social media. We've become way more transparent. We communicate way more with